There are 4 boxes that you need to check in every sales process with a customer if you want to win the job. If you miss even one of these requirements, that's the real reason that you're not winning that business. Once my company built our whole sales process around these 4 things, our sales rate skyrocketed. So in this video, we're gonna talk about what those are in a lot of detail, but here's what the core 4 requirements are. Number 1, are they painting their house this year? Number 2, did you get them exactly what they need and want according to them? Number 3, do they trust you to deliver on the promises you're making them? Number 4, is the price about what they were expecting? In the rest of this video, I'm gonna walk you through a little bit more detail on each of these 4 requirements, why it's required, and what you can do in your sales process to meet these requirements so that you can start closing more jobs. The number 1, is this customer actually going to paint their house? No one's gonna put down a deposit and sign to paint their house if they're not already certain that they're gonna do the project. So your job is to take the people who aren't sure they're gonna paint and make sure that they are gonna paint. And the best way to do this is to actually just do it with honesty, not talking people into a paint job they don't need. So I'll give you a quick example. I remember going to an estimate with my partner, Ben. This was back in the day when he was an early sales rep and I was training him. And we show up to this house and this woman said, well, I don't even know if I'm painting my house this year. I said, oh, okay, great. Well, then let's take a look and see if you need to paint this year. So we went around the house, and on every side of the house, I just pointed out any flaws I saw with the paint job. And I said, here would be the benefit to painting now, and here would be the benefit to painting later. And the benefit to painting now is basically, I already see that there is a little bit of peeling paint and flaking on the siding. If you wait, it's just gonna get worse and it'll cost more money. But you probably could wait, the siding might get a little bit damaged, it's gonna cost a little more to do it, or you could do it now and we can save you a little bit of money. So I just literally went around the house and I pointed out every little problem I could find, a little bit of cracking here, a little bit of peeling here, a little bit of fading here, and I just let her know that if she chooses to wait, it'll probably cost a little bit more because these problems are gonna get worse with the weather over the next year, and there's gonna be more prep work, so the paint job's just gonna cost a little bit more. And I made recommendations on what I would probably do, and I let her come to her own conclusions. And we ended up walking out of that house that day with a signed contract and a deposit check to paint her house because that's what she thought would be best for her, which I would agree with. So if people are interested in doing their painting for less money, it usually benefits them to do it now instead of a year from now. Now, if we're talking about interior painting, most people are getting interior painting quotes because they want to paint, not because they need to paint. And so mostly for us, when we're doing interior estimates, we're just validating how much better it's gonna look and getting them excited about their colors and letting them get themselves excited about the paint job that they want to do for their interior. All right, so number 2, we gotta get people what they need and want. So the first step with this is you need to understand what they actually do need and want. And a lot of painting contractors, I've noticed, skip this step. They don't actually ask people, why are you painting? What are your concerns? Have you painted before? What are you looking for? How long do you want your paint job to last? Are you planning on selling the house soon, or do you want this to last a long time? There's a lot of questions to ask customers so that you know what their needs and wants are, because you are the expert and it is your job to help them get the perfect paint job for what they need and want. One of the biggest mistakes that a lot of painting contractors make is they don't help customers get the perfect paint job for them, they sell their paint job. I remember talking to a guy not long ago who was so proud of his company because he uses the finest paints and he does the highest end prep work and he does all this, which I think is great, but there's some customers who don't want that. There's some customers who literally want the middle of the road paint job because they just don't care about that. And so if you're out there selling your paint job and what your company does and what you do, you're going to exclude customers who don't want that. So there's 2 main things that end up happening when you sell paint jobs that way. The first is some customers don't want the paint job, you do. The second is if you just tell people this is what we do, this is what we recommend, they get to the end of the estimate and they say, listen, Eric, love the presentation. I think you're great. We just want to get a couple other estimates to see what other companies do. So here's the solution. When you find out what your customers need and want, it's your job to educate them on all the possible options. Here's the different materials we could use, and this is the one I would recommend for you based on what you said you need and want. You said you're on a fixed budget, you don't want to spend much money on it, but you want it to look good because you're going to be here a couple more years. Then I wouldn't recommend the super high-end paint. I also wouldn't recommend the really low-end paint. I'd probably recommend this one right here that's going to be a best match for what you want. Here's all the different types of prep we can do and what I recommend and why. We could do 1 coat or 2 coats. We could roll, we could spray. We could add trim and accents. We could not do trim and accents. There's all these options, and here's what they are. Here's what I'd recommend based on what you said your needs and wants are. What would you like me to do? And now they're getting the smorgasbord of options. They're picking, and now they're getting the paint job they need and want, and they've been educated. And when you do it this way, they're less likely to say, we want to get other estimates, because they already got all the options and this is exactly what they need and want, and they know that because they've been educated and they made the choice. All right, number 3, trust. Does the customer trust you to deliver on your promises and deliver on this paint job that you've talked about? So when I ask a customer at the end of an estimate, do you trust me to deliver on these promises? If they say anything except a clear yes, it's a no. Right, so I remember one customer I was doing an estimate for, and we clearly weren't hitting it off. And I got to the end and I said, okay, well, do you trust me to deliver on all these promises? And he goes, I just met you. I don't trust you. That's a no. All right. If people really trust you, you're like, yeah, totally. I love this guy. I trust you. I think you're straight shooter. I think you've been honest with me. I super appreciate your thoroughness and professionalism. It's a clear yes. So you need to get a yes to that question. You need to check that box of trust. So how do you check the box of trust? Well, there's 2 ways we can look at this. 1, how do you destroy trust? And 2, how do you create trust? So how you destroy trust is if you care more about selling the job than you care about the customer. Because when the sale gets threatened in the estimate process, which it will, you're going to reveal that you really do care about making the sale just based on your response, including just your body language, the expression on your face. So for example, when you get there and the customer says, hey, just so you know, I always get 3 estimates, you're the first one and I'm not making any decisions today. If you care more about making the sale than you do about the customer, you're gonna respond to that in a certain way. But if you actually care more about the customer than the sale, you're gonna respond to it in a different way. For example, you'll say, okay, cool, that's totally fine. So anyways, what are you guys looking to get done? And you'll be completely unfazed because you're really there just for the customer. And if they want to get 100 estimates, you don't care. And if they don't want to go with you, you don't care because you want what's best for them. And if they think working with another company is best for them, then you would say, you should go with that other company. And when you actually care more about the customer than you do about the sale, it's really easy to build trust. The opposite is going to reveal that you actually care more about the sale than the customer. And now they just can't quite trust you as much because they know you're trying to make a sale. Now, how do we build trust? Well, there's a couple of really important things that we do to build trust. The first is you've just got to be likable. So there's a whole other video I have about how to sell to different personality types and mirror different personality types because people want to buy from people like them. Second, we want to build a lot of rapport at the estimate. We always train our sales team that the first thing you do when you walk in the estimate is you start talking about not paint. You always start by talking about rapport. And then it's your job to transition the estimate from rapport to paint, back to rapport, back to paint. So you're leading the estimate and you're never building too much rapport, but you're always building rapport in the transitions through the estimate. The third thing we do to build trust is we make sure that we demonstrate our knowledge and expertise. And we do that when we are educating the customer on all the different options for their house and making the recommendations we're making for what they should do to paint their house. That's how we ultimately build trust. Number 4 is the price what they are expecting. If you walk in at the end of the estimate and they expect that the price is going to be $3,000 and your price is $5,000, you are not going to win the job that day. You might win it later, but that is going to immediately be sticker shock for them. They're going to be surprised and they're certainly going to go and get other quotes and other estimates to see is that actually what it costs, and when someone else comes in at $3,000, they're going with that person. If you walk in and they think the price is going to be $6,000 and your price is $5,000, they're going to go with you. Or they're more likely to go with you as long as you check the other boxes. So our job in the sales process is to make sure that they are expecting the price to be what the price is going to be. It's our job to manage those expectations. Every single customer has a certain expectation of what the price is going to be before you show up to their house. Now your price, for whatever paint job you're gonna get them based on their needs and wants, your price is gonna be your price because you use estimating standards to come up with the exact price based on what they need and want. So your price is gonna be $5,000. It's your job to reset those expectations in the sales process so that when you actually walk in and show them the price, their expectations are about in line with what your price is. There's a number of different ways that you can do this. One way you can do it is you can literally just start telling the customers what takes a lot of time, where there's a lot of work. Hey, this prep work takes us a lot of time. People underestimate that. Hey, I don't know if you guys know, but these wood windows, what we need to do is we need to actually pull these out. We've got to cut in the trim. These windows alone take about an hour and you've got 37 of these all over the house. We can start to educate customers on the things that take a lot of time on their house so they're aware. Have you ever painted your house before? Yeah, it's a ton of work. And some people say, yeah, we painted before. And we can actually just tell them what to expect. Other ways that we can anchor the price is we can let them know how many days a job takes and how much we typically charge per day. We can let them know the difference in how much it's gonna cost to do a really good job with prep work. Typically this is like, we did your neighbor's house for $5,000. We did all the right prep work and used similar materials. That's probably about what this is gonna be. So you can kind of drop hints throughout the estimate process about what the price is gonna be, where there's a lot of work, where there's a lot of labor. That's a high-end paint, but it's worth it, but it's definitely gonna cost you an extra $1,000 or $2,000. So we can drop a lot of hints throughout the process. And it's important to keep in mind that you're the expert and you're the professional. You're the one who has all the credibility in the world with what the price should be. Now let's look at putting all this together. Meeting these criteria are required for booking a job, but they're not the only thing that's required. Sometimes we meet all 4 of these criteria and a customer still wants to get another estimate and a customer still wants to think about it. The customer is still not ready to make their decision. And that's perfectly okay. But as long as we've got a yes to all these questions, we know we have the foundation necessary for actually selling the job. Now you can start checking those 4 boxes in your sales process and just watch your sales skyrocket.